How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about SOFI, which was down like the rest of the market by 4.34%. So many are asking me, Dre, what are your thoughts? How do you think it performed? One thing I want to say though, we did end up forming another higher low. But I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch his full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $6.83, being down 4.34%. On the low, it tested $6.57, and then on the high, testing $7.11. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 46.253 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 43.954 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, but we see a slight pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 42.71. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So we ended up seeing a high at the day at $7.11. And if you remember, we wanted to see price action above the 21-day EMA. Currently, it is at $7.15, and I think on the prior days, it was around $7.19. So one thing to keep in mind. But even though we did have a red day, we ended up forming a higher low. That was exactly what we were looking for. We were able to hold support at $6.57. So this is an area we want to keep an eye on going into tomorrow. And what do we want to see? Another higher low, of course. So if we can actually hold, let's say around 670, that would be a good look. But if we continue to see weakness inside of these markets, we could easily break this pattern, and then I'd want to see SOFI holding up at least right here at $6.50. So that's pretty much assuming if we continue to have a sell-off, having a close around $6.50. But if we have strength, then I'm going to be looking for a close above $7 or right at $7, however you want to put it. So it will definitely be interesting going into tomorrow, but one thing that looks very clear is going to be very key for SOFI to pass the 21-day EMA, which is looking like it might be a resistance level, but I can see us breaking through it if things go in our favor in regards to the market conditions. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for SOFI. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings from May the 5th, you see we have some closed position here, but as far as for new, we have the Odell Group LLC that purchased 55 shares, and then we have Washington Trust Company that purchased 2,738 shares. And then we could also see for May the 4th, we have Bankit, Pictet, and Seesaw that purchased 20,349 shares. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 55.36%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 21.34 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 350,000, updated 15 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 1.26%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the third, it was at 29.84, and then for the close of the fourth, being at 55.36. So what does this show us, taking into consideration the short interest percentage of the float being at 19.47%? SOFI does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SOFI. So on the inflow is 54.09 million, and then on the outflow it's at 51.68 million. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 34.75, and then on the small it was 19.34. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 1.56, on the medium it was 29.61, and then on the small it was 20.51. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for May the 5th we ended up having an outflow negative 1.56 million. And then when we take a look at the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then taking a look at the large represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 5.08%. So this is a consistent range for a volatile stock like SOFI. But we have to keep in mind, there was a lot of selling pressure inside of the markets. And since we did have a rally the day before, there was a good amount of profit taking that was happening. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for SOFI, when it comes to the price action, we ended up seeing a high at $7.11. But the level that I want to see us get to is at the 21-day EMA, which is at $7.15. Remember the day prior, it was around $7.19. So it has gone down since we did have a pullback in the stock. But I want to see some price action from SOFI above $7.15, but to be exact, above $7.20. So see if we can get a further move, especially since earnings is right around the corner for next week on May the 10th. Like I was saying in my previous videos, if we can get to $8 prior to earnings, I think that would be quite the accomplishment. But to be a lot more realistic, if the market is strong, or maybe if we trade sideways, I'm expecting SOFI to close at least above $7. But if the market is weak and we continue to have some selling pressure, as long as we can close above $6.50, I would not complain whatsoever. Again, the rally that we had yesterday, I wasn't surprised that we had a good amount of selling pressure that followed. But the bright light at the end of the tunnel, when we take a look at the technicals, we formed another higher low, and this has happened for the past 3 trading days. So that's why I say you don't want to take this off your watch list as of yet, especially if you are a trader, because there's a high likelihood if we have a spike going into tomorrow, SOFI should make another move above $7, and then we want to see if the buying pressure will ensue. Like I said, they do have earnings that is coming up next week, so there's still going to be a lot of traders that are going to be in this play, and it does trade at relatively high volume, so you could see a good amount of volatility in this stock as well. And then when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see institutions have been loading up on shares. We do see some closed positions, but for the most part, institutions have been showing some interest. And then when we took a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential, but we need to have a lot more buying pressure coming into the play to see that strong move in price action, similar to what we saw on the Wednesday. So I know many are going to be asking me, as a long-term investor, should you be buying up this stock? I'm going to let you know right now, if you've been watching up my videos and I was saying, hey, we want to see support hold up at 6, and if it breaks through 6, it can get into the $5 range. If you weren't adding when this stock was literally trading around $6, and now that it's trading at around 7 or close to that, why would you want to consider going in now, right? I always say, if you don't have high conviction, do not buy into the play whatsoever, because when it pulls back, that's when you start panicking and you're more likely to sell. So if you are a long-term investor, I feel these current levels are very attractive. But if you have the opportunity to get it at a lower price, that is not bad as well. And I know many people are going to be saying, Dre, you're being bearish. Why do you want the stock to go down? Like I said, there's a lot of potential in this play as far as for the long term. So all those short-term fluctuations in price don't bother me whatsoever. And considering that the deal that they got done recently with MasterCard, SOFI is going in the right direction. Yes, we do have concerns around the student student loans and it being extended all the way till the end of the August. But again, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. It's just a short-term hurdle, and I know that SoFi should be able to get above it. Again, this company has come a long way. They've been able to get the bank charter. They've been showing tremendous growth. Have confidence in this investment if you are an investor. I want to make sure I really emphasize this. And that's why I emphasize doing your homework and doing your due diligence and being aware of the market conditions so you can see what could potentially happen to the stocks that you hold. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into Friday. We'll talk soon.